Welcome to the Full Vantage Podcast. We have Charlie Lawrence, world record holder, 50 mile. It's been a long time coming, Charlie, for us to hang. You've got a busy schedule. You've got a regimented schedule. Busy as in yes, but you never leave Boulder, Colorado. Okay,
Exactly.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I sit in the bubble, man.
You sit in the bubble, you grind, you worked. Oh, you posted something the other day. I just remembered it. That was so, I laughed so hard. You were like, I guess we'll take it easy today. And it was 26 miles, 5.5 minute pace or something like that. I was like casual marathon training day.
Yeah.
At a sub 6 mile pace. I was like, okay, yeah. That's when you know you're close to setting at least some records out here in these streets. So,
Yeah.
What is it about those types of posts that you like, or those types of things?
One, I think it's low-key the flex of it, because I'm just naturally pretty good at those. I enjoy that, just locking in, being semi-uncomfortable for a long time. And then also just the subtle sarcasm of it too, which is it's no, bro, that's not a light morning. I know that, but it's also just me kind of being a little troll, and it's just fun getting people to get triggered. I half the stuff I post on social media is just half sarcasm, just to get people almost engagement, you know? Yeah, it's funny the amount of people that actually don't know me that well. I think I'm actually just kind of a jerk online, because I'm just kind of a sarcastic a-hole the majority of the time. But yeah, it's just kind of getting people involved.
Look, I think it's hilarious. I think it's so funny, because when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, casual. I don't know if I commented, or I was like, I should just text you real quick and be like, oh yeah, casual. Just to kind of just egg you on a little bit. I think it's so funny. When you do that, or you have fun with that, there's more to that mindset. I'd love for you to just really quick hit why it's important to have fun, or to have a little bit of sarcasm, or to have a little bit of an edge where it's I'm going to actually troll myself for a second, because that's kind of, you're making fun, making fun of yourself, or getting people to, what do you think about that? That's an interesting thing.
Yeah, I think just honestly, you kind of said it. It keeps it interesting. We're not just robots. I'm not just out there clicking off 5:30, 5:40, 6-minute miles. It's you got to keep it interesting, because that's truthfully, as it is, pretty damn boring. You're out there for 2.5, 3 hours, running essentially the same pace, similar pace, cutting it down. It's you got to add some flair to it, make it, I don't want to say attractive, but get some eyes on it in some way. And usually it's just kind of being, like I said, doing something sarcastic, keeping it funny, keeping it interesting. Not taking it too seriously. Obviously, it is my job, so there's some seriousness to it. But at the same time, it's I love my job. It's fun. So you got to keep it fun, keep it as loose as you can, especially because it's just practice, it's training. Obviously, I get pretty serious during races and leading up to it, but it's that stuff, when it's all said and done, especially a big session workout, you can relax and enjoy it and look back at it and in a way make fun of it and get people talking. So
I love that. Where does that come from? Where does that, where did you learn that? Or did that just kind of you just saw it? Yeah, I'm just curious where did that come from? Where did you learn that?
Just the personality side of it.
Sure, maybe. Okay, so obviously personality is going to be a little bit more natural. But who did you see doing that, or who taught you about that?
Oh man,
to kind of get ahead of making it interesting, keeping it fun, or getting that kind of edge.
Yeah, it's funny. I think for the longest time I used to just take it super, super seriously. Even in middle school, it was I was that kid that was just staring down, not staring down people, but you're on the start line just staring onto the abyss, just dead ass serious, wanting to kill people. That was my mentality through honestly middle school, high school. And I think honestly it was probably when I got to college, where it was obviously very, very, very serious, Division I level. But my college coach, Steve Placentia, if I reference him again, I probably will. I'll call him Plaz. It's just his nickname. He's gone by that since his pro days and stuff. Plaz would be yo, you don't have to be that serious all the time. It's we get it. It's a big workout. You're going to go nail it, then relax, a little bit. So I probably got that from him. We're both pretty hotheads. We're both we're pretty set in our ways, both stubborn. But we also know each other super, super well on that kind of that personal level. And he just kind of, I think, saw a lot of himself in me. I knew that at times he had kind of been too serious and probably a little more relaxed, kind of just let things flow. Not trying to force anything, but also kind of let it come to you if you've done the work. So
I love that we're bringing up like a coach in your college career, because you spent, 5 years there?
5 years
running?
Yeah. Redshirt my freshman year.
Redshirt freshman year. Yeah. It wasn't an academic. There was no issues. It was just.
It was, you're 18. You're going to be way better when you're 23 than when you are 18. So we're going to take advantage of this.
Yes, take advantage of those.
Yeah, figure out what you're going to school for. Like, if you have time, add another major, do some other stuff. So take advantage of that as well. So.
That's awesome. I love that. When you think about, I think it's really cool if people actually got to know kind of where you came from, because when you see somebody set a world record, you're like, oh, you've made it. But like what I think and what I see in you, and I'd love to even just kind of get to this point, is like, well, have you made it? And like, why are you still running if you made it? You know what I mean? Like, you're probably not where you want to be yet. That's why we're still in the game. And so like, I'd love to end up there. But as we get there and in this conversation, tell us about like who is Charlie? Who is Charlie? Where did Charlie come from? I know, you're from Minnesota. That's a cold place to run, dude.
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh. Since moving to Colorado, I'm a bit of a runner. So I've started running in the cold. In the winter, I've had one winter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that hits different.
Yeah.
That cold, like we're running in snow now, you know? So like, where did you start maybe the love of running, or like the passion for it? And like, where did that come from?
I think just from day one, I've just been a competitor. Super, super fiery competitor. Hated, like, I was that kid that would, like, you lose any game in gym class from, like, kindergarten, preschool stuff. Like, I'm throwing a temper tantrum. And I just wanted to be good at everything I did, no matter what it was. Like, even, like, let's just say we're playing horse or pickup game, like, with my dad, and I start losing. And I'll say this too, like, my dad's a freak athlete. Like, he was a D2 All-American. Like, went to Minnesota Duluth, Division II school, but used to be, like, the tackles leader, interceptions leader. Was on the Vikings practice squad for a year after. Like, just, like, not a big guy, 6 foot, 180 back in his college days, but just hell of an athlete, could run on the field. Yeah. So I definitely got kind of that edge from him, but he was a football coach growing up. And my mom was the cross-country coach. So I just kind of grew up in that competitive scene from the get-go, and then ended up actually getting a divorce when I was in first grade, kind of the back end of first grade. So that next fall in second grade, it was either go to cross-country practice with my mom, because it was a smaller team. Like, it was it's like a wrestling football school, more so than like running was. It's a small central Minnesota town. Running was kind of weird, if you did that. So, and my dad just had too many football players. He couldn't really watch, a second grader running around on the field. So, but I'm like, I don't really want to go to daycare. That sounds miserable. So I'd go to cross-country practice instead and try to beat up on the 7th and 8th graders. So it was actually the first day of practice of basically my second grade year, first day of school for the 7th and 8th graders. And they did just like a mile time trial. It was like 2 hoops around like this baseball practice football field. Right. And mom's like, hey, do you want to like hop in? And I was always like, even in first grade, second grade, you play anything like kickball or basketball pickup games in gym class. Like, I was always just kind of could outrun everyone, could outscore anyone. I mean, the athleticism of like a second grader, first grader isn't that incredible, but compared to your classmates, you can kind of see who's a good athlete. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll hop in. So I'm a second grader going in 7th and 8th graders. I just like took off from the gun and just beat everyone. Beat 7th and 8th graders as a second grader. I'm like, that was fun. And it wasn't that hard. I'm like, there might be something to this. So, throughout really second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, even before I could compete, I was still showing up to practice most days a week and just trying to run with the junior high kids. So enjoyed it, enjoyed trying to beat them, just that competitive aspect of it. So
dude, I love that. So you kind of saw, just by being there and being around, what was happening too, though, I imagine, was they were pushing you just by sheer age.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Naturally, yeah. I mean, they were, I think I was obviously just the most talented there.
Yeah.
But they're also, you come in with a second grader, as a 7th, 8th grader, F that kid. I don't want to lose to him. No, it's the coach's son. He's just being an annoying, little shit the entire time. Because that's what I was. I mean, I was just like, yeah, sure. I'll go, what do you got, 3 miles today? I just gun it from the start. 3 miles, that's it? Sure. And then they'd be like, no way we're losing to this kid. So,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, so as you grow up in that kind of atmosphere, highly competitive.
Yeah.
With coaches for parents.
Yep.
You have football coach, super intense. Also, if you're going to do that as a dad or 6 foot, 180, get the maximize, get on the practice squad for the Vikings. That's not casual.
No.
That's like going above and beyond any kind of attributes that you would anticipate someone have. So overachieve. That's the word.
For sure.
I'm thinking
yeah. Yeah.
Is massive overachievers.
Yeah. That dude, he scraped the bottom of the bucket in his athletic career. And I think I definitely, in several aspects, am doing the same. You're just trying to find the absolute bottom, or see how far you can go in that sport. And I think with his just physical size, his capabilities, his athleticism, he probably got close to tapping out, at least
limitations.
Hitting his limits, yeah.
Yes,
so.
Hitting his limits, high performer, getting the most out of our capabilities.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. That is a phenomenal question. I'm continually shocked at how few people ever experience the edge of what they're capable of. What makes somebody want to experience? What makes somebody want to, like you said, you're very similar. What makes somebody want to experience the edge of what they're capable of?
Oh man, I mean, I think it's just this innate drive and hunger to just really push yourself. And in my sense in running, it's just how fast and how far can I go, and at what speed and what records can I break. So I know that's a lot of obviously intrinsic motivation. And obviously there's external validation in that, but at the same time too, it's truly just, for me, it's how far can I push myself, and how fast can I go? And I think really when you find those limits, it's pretty gratifying. Or when you achieve something, you can kind of reap the benefits of that. But yeah, it's just kind of that hunger and that's what kind of keeps me going too, is that I don't think I'm really close to it. So there's still things that people have achieved in the sport that I haven't, that I want to go and try to achieve, or, I have worlds coming up in 5 weeks from tomorrow, I have a world record, but someone can go break that, a world title, that's forever, so that's something that's another just milestone that's always there. And there's always, it's good and it's bad. I'm sure we'll bring this up at some point, but my girlfriend, massively supportive. But she's always take some downtime, rest. I'm like, there's always another race, even after Worlds, all right, what am I doing in 2025 coming up? So, there's just always something that just kind of keeps pushing me. And I think there's just still untapped potential there at several aspects and several distances, within running.
Why does somebody want to reach the edge of what they're capable of, in your opinion?
I'll probably just answer it for myself, and then hopefully it kind of, I don't want to say generalize, that's a terrible word, but hopefully it kind of translates to everyone else. But for me, it's just I don't want to leave something unfinished. Kind of at no matter what I do, I just want to make sure I do it to the best of my ability. Even before, not a ton of people know this, but it was I worked in ticket sales for Gopher Athletics right before I got my first pro contract. So I finished up post-collegiately, was working up towards my marathon debut, but was working in ticket sales. And it was even that, I was I wanted to outsell, out-call, just out-hustle everyone, just be the best, sales rep I could be, and it was just definitely, and in a weird way, I'm still I could definitely go back to that field because there's still unfinished business there in a way. Yeah. So it's just, I just want to make sure that I'm getting everything out of myself that I possibly can.
So when I was growing up, there was a word that people would use a lot. They use it a lot when you're younger, or when you're coming up. And I hate this word. I don't hate it now. I hate it less.
Can't wait to hear this.
But I hated this word. And I was get that word out of my face. And in some ways, I was I wanted to fight this word if it had a face. I'm just kidding. But that's the way it felt. That's the way it felt.
Yeah.
And the word is potential. You have so much potential, Charlie. Oh, you have so much potential, Trevor. And that word potential is, I think, could be used in any situation with anyone. And I think it's a good word. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think the word's fine. I think the word means you haven't actualized or realized the possibilities that are within you. You know, it's like, that's great. Like, but you could have potential in any direction. You know, you set off on a course to go in any different direction. It's like, oh, sure, you have potential in that way.
Yep.
And so if somebody has passion in a specific direction, how would you help them actualize their potential? So the possibilities are within them to see it come to life. If you could act as a coach real quick, help somebody. I'm just so curious because you've gained some clout, you've gained some achievement, and you're still in the middle of it, and you're using how you've gained that achievement to move forward to gain the next ones. Like, you're building off of that body of work.
Yep.
Help me see my potential realized. What would you say? How would you coach them?
In running or in
if
life?
you need it to be specific to running,
Yeah.
great. If you want to, I would say begin there. Begin with running, and then like let's maybe I want to see how to maybe generalize it so that we can get less specific. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
in running.
I guess if we're thinking running, I mean, it's like typically someone says, because I do coach. I think I have 12 athletes, 13 athletes, and they just come to me with like, I want to break 3 hours in a marathon, and usually like my first question is, what's your previous work? What have you done previously? And then ultimately it's like, why do you want to break 3 hours? They might give you an answer. Well, it's like, because my friends have broken 3 hours. It's like, then you just kind of ask like another follow-up question on that, and like kind of gets them thinking. And ultimately you get to like question 5, 6, 7, and they kind of get to like, what is actually really, really driving them? So then it's like, then you just kind of, I won't say leverage, but you just like kind of hone in on that, and you just like, you put that into what they're doing as they build towards this 3 hour goal. So whether it's, family or, I'm struggling to
No. I like that.
But do you get what I'm trying to say, though?
No, I do. I totally get what
Yeah.
you're trying to say. You're trying to say you've got to figure out what makes them tick.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that driving force? What's their why?
Yep.
Which is great. There's this great thinker. He wrote a book, Simon Sinek. He wrote the book. I think it's called. It starts with why.
Yep.
Okay. Which is kind of like what you're talking about
Yeah.
right now. And then from the why, we can get where we want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, in general, though, you love to build from where somebody has been.
Yep.
Which is what I hear you say. So if I can figure out this body of work of where they've been, then we can take steps toward where they want to go by just taking the next step. Do you see people overreach a lot? Meaning like their body of work doesn't even come close to where they want to go.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Or they've just been, and truthfully too, it's like they just haven't done the work to validate that goal, and that's not a slight at anyone. It's just like and in the running aspects, like I can definitely give you the work necessary to get there, like I can't guarantee you, a 3 hour marathon or anything like that, but it's like I get you pretty dang close.
Yes. And then what did you say, if you can get them close, what do they have to have that is not a body of work?
They just got to have that hunger, like to kind of polish off themselves. Cause like I can't be out there to motivate them for the 26.2 miles,
Yeah.
They got to have that just intrinsic motivation to go get the job done on that day and execute. Cause I can't ultimately execute, that for them. So I guess if we're, quote unquote generalizing, it's like, you gotta still do the work yourself no matter what it is. And have kind of the body of work really behind it, no matter really what it is, truthfully. I mean, there's people that I won't say get lucky, but it does, some people are fortunate and it works out in their favor, and good for them. I will never knock anyone for having stuff work out in their favor, but for the majority of people, it's like you got to have the work behind, what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Will you define... if you need some more water, go ahead and grab some.
Rule number 1, stay hydrated.
No. Hey, remember that. Rule number 1, stay hydrated. I have noticed that you better stay hydrated in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's a really quick place to get
have chapstick
dehydrated.
on you too all the time. And yeah.
Dehydration, chapstick. That's amazing. Define hunger.
Ooh. I'd say just being willing to do whatever it takes to achieve your goal or what you're trying to do. And just always having either always like finishing your plate or always having something on your plate that you need to finish in a way.
Finishing your plate or having something on your plate that you need to finish.
Yeah.
Oh man, someone who finishes what they set out to do.
Yep.
Okay. What are some motivators for people that stop short of finishing? What have you seen in the people you've coached, maybe even yourself that you don't like, or in the world around you?
Yeah. I think it's just like, I won't say instant gratification, but it's like sometimes it just doesn't happen in the first. I'll just use the 3-hour marathon again. It's like, all right, we tried. We ran 3:07, 3:08 or whatever. It's just like, all right. It's like, oh, that didn't work. Like, must not, like, I don't know what could it have been? It's like, I don't know. It's like your first true marathon build. Like, it doesn't always go right. Sometimes it does. Like, you just got to, like, fill that plate back up again and start eating, you know? Or, you know, let's say in the perspective of the marathon, maybe it's like, maybe you didn't quite finish the job and, like, you know, finish your plate, you know? Or there's still something left there that you didn't do, like, in training or in life that didn't translate to race day or, you know, that event or whatever you're coming up to.
No, that's good. That's good. I think I'm thinking about just kind of your come up and how you've learned to aspire to finish or to get, yes, across finish lines races.
Yeah.
But like, that's not what we're talking about, because that's the low bar. You know how people are like, man, I just want to finish a marathon. It's like, man, like, that's good, but that's not like, you just go slower and you'll finish a marathon.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's not like, and of course that's maybe an overgeneralization. It's still 26 miles, whatever. I get that. But as you think about different key points in your come up in your career, do you care to give a few of those? Here's why, okay? Because I bet a lot of people don't know the ones that really matter to you. And I'm not talking about wins.
Yeah.
Stacking up wins. I think those are important. There may be a few in there that's like
For sure.
a big deal. But I bet there's at least one that if you go back, you say, okay, that's when the switch flipped for me.
Yeah.
Because it feels like the world record, if you just read it on paper, came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay?
No,
Now, that's not...
No,
right,
yeah.
right.
I mean, you're correct.
Okay, yeah. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Like, I love that so much. No one saw it coming, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, just reading it. Like, because when you read about it and you think about, like, oh, like, he did this, it's like, whoa, this to this makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I imagine there's more internal fight and more internal finishing that has happened. There's a few switches that were flipped.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I would love to dial in on those, if that's okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think where to start, because there's definitely, I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, really the first one. I mean, I'd probably say really the first flip that really probably initiated it. Obviously, like, I don't need to go back and, like, talk about high school a ton, but it was just, like, obviously just going back to that competitiveness and all that. I went to a really, really, really small school in Minnesota. So there were two classes. There was Class A and AA. Class A was the really small schools, so truthfully not a ton of competition. There was competition at the state level, but I was a couple times state champion and all that, and ended up going to Division I level from small schools. So I'll definitely give Plaz the credit this, because, you know, I remember sitting in his office, he was like, yeah, this isn't Class A in Minnesota, man. You can't just walk in and, you know, be good. Like, you're going to have to, like, this is Big Ten cross country. This is Division I, you know, like, and I obviously didn't like hearing that. So it just kind of just lit a fire underneath me. But here's where it kind of segues into that. So just always trying to be the best at what I was doing. And obviously there was a, you know, adjustment period to Division I. Yeah. But with that being said, throughout my career, what Plaz had me do was I just adjusted really, really well to the mileage that he gave me and the strength aspect. Like, I gradually developed, like, what you've seen on social media of, like, my you know, watch after a long run. You know, I'm trying to think of one that you replied to. Might have been, was it like 30 at like 5:35 pace or something? Yeah, it's just like, that's, you know, at this point it's like, yeah, it's just another day, you know. But like, but back then it's like, I gradually was able to, like, do long runs in college where it was like 16, 18, 20 milers at like 6 flat pace, or even quicker. And I just like would recover well, adjust well, adapt well. And Plaz would always be like, yeah, you're going to be great on the roads one day. I was like, whatever great meant, I have, no clue. It's up for total interpretation, But he was right, because ultimately, like, I was good in college. I was, a couple times all Big Ten, all region. Was never an All-American and such. And I guess right away post-collegiate, I ran a half marathon. I ran 64:13 as my debut in 2018. And that's when Super Shoes was kind of just coming up. So I was kind of got one kind of right on the board before Super Shoes popped off. And then debuted in 2:16:10 in the marathon. So I think probably like the kind of the first little switch was probably just Plaz and him just like gradually bringing me up, his training, his periodization, and just honestly just kind of juiced me up, being like, hey, you can get on the roads one day. So he kind of got me ready for that 64, then my marathon debut in 2:16:10, which in 2018 was one of the top times. And I was the fastest 23-year-old in the country that year at the marathon. That's what got me my pro contract. So probably, Plaz and my time there, probably that marathon, and then, Kevin Hansen at Hanson's Brooks giving me my first opportunity. That was probably the first little another switch. I was like, all right.
Yeah, because that was a team that you joined.
Yep, it's a
when
Brooks,
you turned pro.
Brooks sponsor group, in Michigan. So I was with them basically 2019 through the 2020 trials. And I didn't give Kevin enough time to really develop me. Like Placid, I was with him for 5 years. And it kind of, the 2:16 was kind of a culmination of all that. Obviously some good races collegiately, some bad races collegiately. Yeah. Obviously you grow up a lot from 18 to 22, 23 too. And I still just needed to like kind of just mature in the sport a little bit, and didn't give Kevin enough time, truthfully. So when that hit, COVID hit, and I was like, what? I have some friends in Boulder. It'd be cool to get out to Boulder. So I made that move out here. So I think that was probably another flip, that switch there. And just kind of just immersing myself in the distance running scene in Boulder, which is great. Kind of trained with the Tin Man boys on and off, kind of right when I moved out. Obviously knew Austin a little bit, so would run with him. Was with Roots Running initially too. Well, that was about a year ago, but I'll kind of backtrack too. So I got to know Des Linden a little bit in Michigan because she ran for Hanson's.
Okay.
We were never teammates at Hanson's. She already left, but we just got to kind of know each other through, like, we're both total.
And do you care to explain to everyone who Des is?
Yeah, so Des is arguably one of the greatest. I mean, not arguably. She's one of the greatest American distance runners of all time. She's Boston Marathon champion 2018, two-time Olympian 2012, 2016.
And when you say you ran 2:16, what he means is he ran a marathon in 2 hours and 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, like,
Yep.
That's not a runner. That's pretty quick. Fastest 20. You were at 23 at the time.
23. Yeah.
Fastest 23-year-old to run it
In the country
that year.
Yeah.
Was phenomenal.
Yep.
I just want to make sure that we're given like
Yeah. Got the stats.
Well, just the non-runners an understanding of like the speed at what we're talking about, and then you have Des.
Yep.
Who she won? It was 2018. She won the Boston Marathon.
Yep.
Won the one of the biggest marathons in the world.
Yeah, that's the Super Bowl of marathons.
Yes.
It's the biggest. It's the most popular, deepest, best marathon in the
It's
world.
the hardest one to get into.
Yeah.
Unless you pay a ton of money.
Yeah.
But yes, hardest one to get into. You got pretty much you got to run a sub 3 hour marathon, which is fast.
Yeah.
Close to it. Depends on your age, but yeah. So sorry, go ahead, keep going.
So
you met Des.
So got to know Des really through her husband Ryan, because we're both total foodies. Like, we enjoyed good beers. Still do. When the timing is right. Unfortunately don't. No. I love drinking beer, but it's like when I'm training, it's not conducive to recovery or anything like that. But got to know Ryan and Des just through that, and coffee. We're coffee snobs too. So got to just know her through that, and really just through our relationship and talking. And with COVID hit, I was like, Des, like, what races are coming up? What are you gonna do? She's like, I think I'm gonna go for the 50K women's world record. And I was just like, well, if I can help in any way, like, let me know. It'd be sick to be a part of, support you, whatever. Well, long story short, she's a couple weeks later, she said, hey, like, I need a pacer for it. Would you want to pace me? And ultimately went out, paced her for it. She got the world record. She ran 2 hours, 59 minutes, 54 seconds. I did it literally just as a workout, because even then I was still running really solid long runs, like the ones you'd seen. Somewhere I could go out any day in Boulder at altitude and run 20 miles at 6 flat, or 22 at 6 flat, or, I've even had a couple 25 milers at 550-ish pace. And she'd obviously seen that, caught note of that. She's like, yeah, that'll be light work for you to go 50K at, 540 pace on a fast course at sea level, or 545 to 550. Yeah. So ultimately, I went and got it done, and that was kind of another like flip that switched, because obviously like seeing, well, one, it's like really cool to see a friend and be able to sort of help. I mean, she did it. I was just keeping her company the entire time.
Well, what's funny is she did it, but then you also did it.
I did it, yeah.
So that's what's so cool about that.
Yeah.
That is obviously a switch that flips in your life.
Yep.
You don't set a world record with someone else that's the official setter.
Yep.
Because in the female world, and you're like, wait a second, this distance is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Is that kind of where you thought about maybe some longer distances other than the
Right there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right there.
I was like 50K and that stuff. Like this, like I won't say it comes easy, but I'm like I can just naturally lock in for a long time and be uncomfortable for a long time. I'm just good at that. Kind of always has been, even through, like I said, got way better in college, and Plaz did a great job of bringing me up that way. So, so that flip switch, and like obviously seeing a world record happen and like being literally like closer than you and I are right now for the whole 3 hours, and seeing her do it. And obviously, and just being with her the whole weekend and staying in Eugene and just how she goes about her business and stuff. Super, super motivating. But in my head too, kind of another flip that switch was like, all right, I just paced Des basically as a workout, at 5:47 pace. And I'm like, what's the world record at the 50 mile? Cause I think I could do this for another 19 or so miles. 50K is roughly 31 miles. I'm like, oh, it's 5:48 pace. I just basically did 31 miles at 5:47 pace as a workout. Like I, ran twice the day before, like didn't really, obviously took it very, very seriously, but I'm like, I can go do this just like a normal training run. I'm like, I think I can go do this for 19 more miles. Like pretty sure I can. So my goal was so that was 2021, that April. I'm like, in 2022, I'm going to go get this and, see if I can, because I already kind of had fall racing plans lined up. And I guess too, what happened was, ended up getting a grade 4 sacral stress fracture, same injury that Austin had actually.
Which, do you care to describe what that is, where that is?
Yeah, so your sacrum is basically your kind of lower back, well, the top part of your lower back, that kind of big bone that sits right there, kind of before.
Yep.
Yeah, right there, and I just cracked it straight through because I just kept running on it, training on it, because I felt it a little bit, felt it right away. It's like, might be my glute, might be something. Yeah. Just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and by the time I knew it was really bad, but I'm like, it's fine. I'm gonna be whatever. Like I couldn't walk on it. I had to grab tables and chairs to walk around the place I was living, and yeah, it was miserable.
Were you nervous about that? Because
I bet injury.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I knew I was really messed up. Yeah. But I just you try to maybe it'll get better tomorrow. Like that BS. Or just if you take 4 leaves and rub Voltaren on it, it feels a little better, and you get out the door and go run. But I mean, it was miserable. Absolutely miserable. And it was honestly self-inflicted, because I just should have stopped running. Should have got an MRI within the first couple days, and I went on it for 3-4 weeks. Because I had US 50K championships coming up. That was supposed to be February. That came down late January. So I'm like, if I can just get to 50K, because I saw Des break the world record at 50K. I'm like, it'd be cool to win the world 50K, or win the US 50K championship, then try to get on the world 50K team if you do that. Because it's just runner mindset. I can do this for 3 more weeks. And ultimately my chiro convinced me to get an MRI, and yeah, cracked it straight through. So, and that's on me. Because I just, kept training on it.
So one of my, we're in the, I think there's a few more switches that flipped.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to pause for a second. So that, because injury is a huge part of your sport.
Unfortunately.
A huge part of, and injury management, I think, is big for anyone that's trying to achieve something that they've never been before. There's going to be a lot of pain that you're going to have to go through, and a lot of learning by trial by fire as well, which is what injury is.
Yep.
Because you had to stop. You probably could have, in your mind, at least placed top 3 in the 50K championships, probably. Yeah. But I mean, just based off those times that they had that year.
Yep.
And so that does something to your mind and heart, because you're if I could have just done, and then you live in the if you could have done world. But what did it take to go through injury, and how has injury maybe even changed you?
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely grateful for even the bad days. You know, like I had a terrible workout. Today's Friday. Wednesday I had a terrible workout. Absolutely terrible. It was 35. Did you run that day?
Oh, dude, yeah, I run every day.
Okay, good. Good man. It was,
yes.
It was the first day under like 40. It was cloudy.
I was in sweatpants.
Yeah, it was.
Or like running pants, but like, it's terrible.
But looking back, even just putting me in this mindset, like you just made me think it's like, that's still a pretty, like you're out there like running as hard as you could for like miles and K repeats, dude. Like, yeah, you didn't hit the splits you wanted, but it's like, bro, like you're running, you're healthy, you're good. Like, yeah, that sucked, but you're fine. So it makes you grateful for that stuff. 'Cause I guess like, yeah, it gives you that perspective and just like that gratitude to be able to do it, you know, like, and I couldn't be more grateful for what I do. I mean, I get to like, you know, wake up in the morning, do my activation, have breakfast, and go like chill with Dahlquist for, you know, 8 to 10 miles and shoot the shit with them. You know, like that's like I get paid to do that. You know, it definitely makes you, like I said, reflect on all the good that the sport's brought you and the friends and, you know, just being healthy. So
before you move on to the next like switch that flipped, because, you know, you're injured and we're kind of in that moment. If someone is injured right now and they're having a really difficult time seeing the other side of it, what are some things that you would tell them if they were here with us?
Yeah. Don't look long term. Just look at like what you have to do today. Like, cause that's the thing. When I was, and this will definitely, it'll segue pretty well into, I think, that next switch. Just check the box as well as you can today. Whether it's, if you're a runner, like, and you got to go to the pool, like go swim, like just go check that box. Like go swim as much as you need to, or as long as you need to, go aqua jog as long as you need to. If you're going to bike, go bike as long as you need to. Just worry about today. Worry about tomorrow when you get there. Because if you look at it holistically, like, oh man, I have 3-4 months. That's a long time. Like no matter how like you splice that up, that's a long way down the road in runner's mind. So it's like, just worry about, you know, Friday, November 1st, you know, worry about tomorrow. So that'll take care of itself and you'll execute on the next. So just break it down really, really, really small increments and don't get ahead of yourself. And just try to be patient. Like you can say that because, like, I mean, I'm the least impatient person you'll ever meet, but it's easier said than done. But like, just one day at a time and try to be patient.
I totally feel that with you, by the way, which is great.
Yeah,
which is great. I mean, my new favorite definition for patience. Let me give it to you. This may help you. Patience is figuring out what to do between where you are and where you want to be. It's not waiting till you get there. Or waiting till it happens. It's figuring out what to do in between where you are and what you're waiting on.
That's hard because you just want to get to what you're waiting on, bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then that kind of goes back to like, oh, I'm injured. Like, yes, be patient about going there. But there's something that we can learn. There's some way that we can get better today. And even if it's just mental, and even if it's just moving, do those two things.
Exactly.
Do you care to hit a little bit of the mental game that you try to have with yourself in the middle of injury?
Yeah, and it's just that kind of same mindset. It's just like just one gym session, one pool session, one bike session. That's like all it is. Just like lock in the very, like be in the present. Be like you and I right now, like just you and I talking. Like nothing else is like just
nothing
check.
Else is happening.
Just check that box in what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Stay in the moment because, like I said, if you get too far ahead, it becomes overwhelming and your mindset. It's just not, puts you in a bad mindset and a bad kind of mind frame.
Who helps you stay either present or dream more? Which one do you lean to? Like, I feel like you're a bit of a dreamer.
100%.
Okay. So, do you have to have people? I know I have to because I'm a bit of a dreamer. As well. Who or what keeps you more dialed in, so to speak, on today?
Yeah. Honestly, and this is not just me like saying I'm really good at it, but I'm very good at just being like lock in, dude. Just execute, lock in. That's my thing, dude. Like I was, I said it jokingly. I'm like I don't leave the Boulder bubble, but I'm like I was joking, but also serious. Like I lock myself in Boulder. My girlfriend hates it sometimes, but it's what I like. I love that. I just love the same stuff every single day.
Laz taught you that.
Plaz did.
Plaz.
Yeah.
Sorry. Plaz taught you that.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, but also too, he's like, you got to like relax a little bit too.
Okay.
So he's like, find that balance. But I've always just been one where if I can like just kind of create my environment to thrive, like I'm just going to live in that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Next switch that flipped for you.
Next switch, yeah. So
You're injured.
Yep. So this kind of
back. Yes.
Yep. So this kind of translates to this flip and also the injury. Obviously, did not want to like cross training. Sucks. Mm-hmm. I hate it. But I'm like, how can I make this like exciting, fun? So that was unfortunately like the winter. So it's like biking outside in the winter when it's cold, not fun, right? So went out, I had a decent cyclocross bike. Like I'll just put a trainer tire on it. So went and bought a Wahoo bike trainer. They don't give those away. But I'm like, you'd spend $1,000 on a bike trainer. Like you got to use it now. So downloaded Zwift, got after it on that, and spent a lot of time just aqua jogging in the pool. But really like where this flip comes in, or the switch that flipped, was it's like, all right, I do not want to go sit in my garage for 4 or 5 hours and ride on Zwift, or go to the pool for 2, 3, 4 hours in aqua jogger swim laps. But it's like, all right, like the 50-mile world record is 4 hours, 50 minutes. It's like you're going to be running at a pretty intense pace under heavy fatigue for that long. Like a 4-hour bike ride better not bother you, like at all. 3 hours in the pool, that's easy. You got to like, that's way easier compared to running, 3 hours at 5:45 pace, like this is easy. Go do it. So then that's all I had to tell myself, to go get 3 hours in the pool. And then once you get 3 hours, it's like, it's another half an hour. And once you get to 3.5 hours, you're like, it's another it's only another half hour. So it's just like being like, it almost just calloused my mind more and more, to when the time came to like actually go get that record, or, be just running, that I could go, that my mind would just be ready for the long grind, the long miles, and just really the race. So a lot of visualization for sure. Cause like, obviously I'd seen the course. I knew the course I wanted to go get it on. Just visualizing certain aspects of the race and certain points. That kind of just definitely got me through it. But it was just that mindset of like, it's a 5-hour bike ride downstairs. Like you got to be able to run basically 5 hours pretty damn hard. So, and then even too, like when the summer came around, it actually flared back up again on me, refractured it. So I went out and bought a road bike. And that's the thing too. I mean, it's gorgeous out here, right? You can ride up on peak to peak from Boulder, and, it even come down towards Denver sometimes. And it's like, all right, 6 hours in the saddle, like, or 100-mile bike ride. It's like, that's still easier than I think running 50 miles. So shouldn't be an issue doing a century ride. Like, go do it, dude. Like, don't be soft. So it was just like that flip and that mindset.
I love how you do math. I love how you do math. It's so, cause you're right. Yeah. Like if you're going to run this at this distance, then these other things, doing it at the same amount of time, you're training your mind to be under that kind of pressure for that amount of time, which is phenomenal. What do you do then during that time? Okay, you're running like 3 hours. You're biking 4 hours. You're swimming 3 hours. What do you do mentally? Where does your mind go? Because you talked about visualization, but what do you work on, or what are you thinking?
Oh man, honestly, in the pool, I mean, it's serious, but it's a joke. It's just like, how long can I go without looking at my watch? Like, just play that mind game. And like within like trying to just kill time, you're also just thinking of like visualizing the race, or just sometimes too, like if you're in the pool, it's not super intense. So you can just kind of think about daily tasks if you have them. I'm fortunate I don't have too absurd, like I don't really have a ton of daily tasks. Like going to the grocery store is a big task for me. And I joke too, because like
it's a big one for me too, because when I go in, my wife's like, why did you buy all of this stuff? Yeah. You went to the grocery store for 5 things. I'm like, and you didn't get but one of those 5 things that I told you to get. Yeah. I'm like, I got distracted.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. Don't send me to Costco ever.
Yeah,
or by myself.
Yeah, I have to walk in with a list, and I just like, like on my notes app, just get rid of them. Good. Got it in the basket. Next. Like otherwise So, but yeah, no, for me, like in that moment, it's just like, I don't want to say you let your mind wander, but you just kind of like let it take you to where it go, like where it kind of wants to go, if that makes any sense. Like you kind of like exit from the moment for a little bit, just kind of pass the time, but obviously then you gotta refocus and recenter, especially when it's like just a long time. But there's like certain times where you have to be like super dialed and stuff. Like there were, let's say, because a lot of times I do like pool fartleks, or like, because I hate swimming, like swimming laps, so I just mostly aqua jog. So I just break it down like, I do 90-minute fartlicks, 3 minutes really hard, 2 minutes off. So that's how you break up time and stuff. So you just play little tricks like that. And even too, if you got to the Zwift or something, it's like hop in a Zwift bike race or go climb Alp do Zwift and try to outride, go for the KOM there. So it just keeps you engaged in some capacity. But obviously sometimes if you're just spinning or just aqua jogging, your mind does drift to certain other things.
So you end up playing different types of games.
Essentially, yeah. I mean,
that's kind of what you're talking
yeah,
about.
Zwift is basically one massive bike game. So that was fun. And yeah, like I said, there's some times where I did it one time where I made it about hour. It was like an hour 44 minutes without checking my watch or the clock, which I was pretty happy with. There's also another time where I'm like, it's been at least 40 minutes and it was 16. And then you're like, oh God, this is gonna be a long day in here, man. So you just, you test yourself in that capacity. So just anything to kind of pass time. But like I said, usually just break it up with some sort of a fartlek or.
So that I think I love the game aspect. And then you have this year where you go, breaking, fracturing your back, and then you re-injure it again.
Yep.
And you're playing the games again.
Yeah. And
where do you go from here? Because this is a tough year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's maybe the toughest year you've ever had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In your career.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate to say that was the toughest year ever. And it was just, dude, you have a fracture in your back. Like life still like you're fine,
Oh sure, right.
But,
compared to like
yeah,
a lot of other people's tough years.
For sure. Yeah. So, but for me, it was just all right. Like let's get out here and let's go get like the trials. And I think too, to consider yourself a good marathoner in the U.S., you have to be at the U.S. marathon trials no matter what. So obviously I was injured when the qualifying time came out for the 2024 trials. So I was like, well, shoot, I want to get that. It's like, if you say you're a good marathoner, you better be at the trials. So like, that's one they have to that's a box I have to check, in 2023. So, cause I'll back up too. I got injured January of 2022. I didn't race again until February of 2023. So 13 months I was off, and I didn't really start running again until like September, October of 2022. But had, I think, done so much cross training, just built an aerobic engine. Obviously, my legs were way behind, just the running legs. But eventually, like once my legs caught up to my aerobic system, things were firing. It was kind of a frustrating first part of 2023, but things really kind of started to click through that summer. I got sidetracked.
No, you're good. You're good. So you have this amazing.
Yep.
You're getting your legs back. Your aerobic capacity is pretty large. Your engine is large, but you're trying to get your muscles to get lined up with that. Okay, so you're on your way to this world record. You actually have already imagined it a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, it's been I don't want to say it consumed me, but it was like it's what got me through the shitty days in the pool.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Even too, like in Colorado, like again, you live here, so it's like, and if you want like a good lane at the pool, you don't want to get splashed. You got to get there at 6 a.m. to like make sure you're in the aqua jogging lane, so there's people be swimming in that lane, and it's not fun. You're getting splashed every time they swim by. So it's like it's dark. It's 20 degrees out. You're getting in the pool for 3-4 hours,
and the pool's not warm.
No.
Yeah, it's freezing.
Yeah, so it's just like, so what got me through is being like, dude, like you're building towards ultimately this goal. Like that's going to be like the biggest circle when you get out of here. At least for that moment. Obviously, once you get it, we'll reshoot for something else.
Yeah,
but
and in between your injury and all of your working and you're starting to build, you have this world record way out there. But then you've got these few things like you're talking about that are in between you and there.
Yeah.
Okay, so and like I said, kind of at the beginning of this part of the conversation is, it seems like the world record comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But you've been imagining it.
Oh yeah.
For a year now.
Yeah.
And you're about to go. Like you said, you're a marathon runner. That's like your thing, and you're headed toward Worlds.
Yep.
Right, or the USA Championship. Help me out with that. Is it USA Championships or Worlds?
Oh, when I got injured.
No. What you're going to now because you're building up your legs.
Now it's 100K Worlds in December. Yep.
So 100K Worlds in December. You're on your way there. So give us a few more. Like where did the switch flip? Like, what are some of those? What's that big moment? Because you're on your way, and how does it come out of nowhere? And take us to the moment where it's like you shocked the world. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this too. In this, and my girlfriend she'd hear me because we started talking literally like February of 2022. So like I'm injured. I'm in the pool. I'm not running at all. But she's always like, yeah, like what's your goal when you get out of here? I'm like, I'm gonna break the 50-mile world record. And like I didn't like say I want to. I said I'm going to. So like, dude, it before that race even went off, like I'd already like broken it in my mind. I'd seen that course, done it, broken it 50,000 times in my head. So I just had this like absurdly like innate belief in myself that I was going to go get it, you know, because I just kind of put in hours of visualizing it in the pool, cross training, even like in the runs when I'd gotten healthy really through late 2022, 2023. And I'll say this too, and I really kind of wanted to go after it earlier if I could have, but obviously like the injury and the group that I was with at the time, which was actually Austin's group, Roots, they were kind of just a pure marathon group. And that at the time was like, well, I want to get to the trials, I want to make sure I'm there again. So it's like, makes sense to be with these guys. But at the same time too, I'm like, I'd love to double dip. And unfortunately that just wasn't an option with the group. And just the training structure and, you know, what our coach Richie wanted for me. So kind of that next flip that switched, was unfortunately it came down to Rich and I had kind of a blow up. I know enough about training to know kind of what I need. And it just at the time wasn't what I needed, to run to the best of my ability. So I ended up leaving Roots. And as soon as I did that, I'm like, I'm gonna go break the 50 mile world record. Now I can, because I wanted to run the 50K championships early that year too. And, didn't make a ton of sense, but I had some bonuses for it. And I was told no, I couldn't do it from Richie. So I'm like, well, that's a little frustrating. So, I'm like, you know what? Now I can go do exactly whatever I want, and I think I can go do it. So that was definitely
Sometimes you need somebody to tell you that you can't do it.
Yeah, just to motivate you a little more. And that was definitely a flip that switch, and was it for the better? I'm not sure. Like I love those guys. Like those are my best friends. Austin, Noah, Dradi, like love that entire crew. You know, Sydney Gidabudai, Aiden Reed. Could keep listening to those guys, but yeah, those are the homies. Like those are my best friends. So that really hurt leaving. But for my career and like what I want to do in the sport, like it was kind of a necessary move, unfortunately. So that was definitely kind of another flip that had switched. But with that being said too, like leading up to the world record and just, you know, where it kind of came out of nowhere, I think it just was like, it's been kind of a multi-year build of like even 2021, you know, helping Des and like having that first little idea, that first little spark to being like, maybe I can do it on this course in Tunnel Hill. Another buddy, Fernando Cabada, who I don't know if he's officially retired yet, but you know, he was a U.S. marathon champion in like 2008 when the race was in Minnesota. I begged my mom to drive me down to watch him do it and like, or to watch the race, and like he ended up winning, and he's been someone I've looked up to since then. Like I was in middle school, and now he's just kind of a friend, mentor of mine. So, you know, he's like, Tunnel Hill would be a good course to do it on. So that had been in my mind too, since basically after I paced Des. So really, I mean, from April 2021 to November 23. So you're looking at, you know, 2.5 years. It was just kind of a long build, but it's, you know, the culmination. I think this is also a Des quote where it's like, it takes, 10 years of work for, you know, one moment of glory or, you know, I don't want to butcher it, but, something like that where it's like holistically you look at it, it's like, yeah, Plaz had me for 5 years in college. I've been running professionally for 5 years post-collegiate. It's literally 10 years of basically build up and work prior to culminate, you know, in that. And really the last 2.5 years of pretty dedicated, for the majority of it, and from what I could control, pretty methodical training to go try to get it, and just kind of the mental training to just be able to lock in and will myself to, you know, believe that I can go get this.
I've heard this, and I love this. It's and you're hitting it really, really solidly, is people overestimate what they can do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in 3 to 10.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on. Have a bigger vision for your life that you can look at it and say, it's only a matter of time.
Yep.
Because, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's fun. And like going back to the patience aspect again,
Yes.
I'm not patient, dude. But it's like, but you look at this like you want instant gratification. Running is not your sport, man. Like it's just not, you know, like it's a lot of work, a lot of mileage, to ultimately go get something. And again, too, it's like, and even too, you know, I thought I'd set the world on fire after I got the world record. You know, I go, trials were 10, 11 weeks after Tunnel Hill where I broke the world record, and it's like I come down with another injury. You know, it's just like, it's this sport, and it's like you have to kind of refocus, reset, cross train. You know, I ended up getting PRP in my hip, and it's just like, all right, now we gotta get back to it. And it's nothing's linear. You know, like I was like, I'm gonna dominate this ultra scene, and there you go. And it's, you know, it's not just given to you. You know, it's a lot of work, dude.
No, it totally is. I think about, I think about you taking that huge step and that huge, and having that moment. Can you take us to the moment and just describe maybe even the day or what happened or how it all came together where it just flowed for you? Because it doesn't always do that. And then as you think about that, I just want everyone to think about it, even myself, about this. It takes more than you think it will. It always takes more. If you want to be the greatest, if you want to set records that have never, if you want to set a record that's never been before, it's going to take you doing something that no one has ever done before. So what makes you think it's going to be easy? You know, like, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying, like, as humans, I think we get there where it's like, oh, if I just put in this amount of work, they did it. Well, then if you're trying to do something that you've never done and they've never done, it's going to take way different mixture of the mental capacity, of the body of work, of the training, of the nutrition, of everything coming together. Take us to the moment where it came together, because I would love for you to describe that for us.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, it was just like, people talk about like flow state, and like you definitely, I can think back in my time running professionally and running competitive in college, there's 5-6 races maybe in 10 years where it's just like, where you're running well and you know you're running well and it hurts so badly, but you're running so well that you can just continue to just double down and lean in more than you've ever leaned in before. And that's hard. Like, it's really hard, like hard to get to that point, but like you train for that every single day. You know, you kind of, you know what that's like, and it's like a euphoric feeling, but don't get me wrong, like that hurts so bad. Like Tunnel Hill, when it got really hard, it got really fucking hard. And you just had to just lean in and just like not give in to like my quads just wanting to, that were blowing up, just stop and like slow down. It's like, just stay on it. Like, you're on it. So it's just that kind of just that motivation factor of riding that wave, or riding the big waves that come at you, and just kind of getting to the next point, getting to the next bottle, breaking it down. And yeah, I mean, just in that moment, it's like, you're just, you know, go back to what we were talking about, where it's like, just in that zone where nothing, you're just so focused on what you're doing that nothing else is really going on in, you know, in the outside world to me in that moment. So, and that was just pure flow, I guess.
What was the biggest moment in the race for you?
Oh, man.
What was the biggest one that you thought, I think I can do this if I just fill in the blank?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to answer that, like, I'm definitely going to take the long form approach here, because again, I'm like, I'm going to break this thing. I just like convinced myself, like, no matter what, I was going to get this thing. So even before it went off, I'm like, yeah, dude, you got this. Like, it was just like, I just felt so not overly prepared. I just felt so prepared for it. Yeah. So ready to hurt, and to just that absurd belief in myself that I was going to go get it. So there wasn't ever a time during the race where I'm like, you're not going to get it. Even when it got really hard, it's like, you're still going to get it. Just stay on it, man. You know, and even like my first bottle where I went, you know, like I had my family, they were going from station to station, just running by. I grabbed the bottle, finish it, and, well, you know, sip on it as I go, and, you know, drop it, get the next one. You know, I got past the first bottle, like 5.5 miles, and I'm looking at my watch. I'm already way under pace, and I just go, I already got a minute down on this bitch, and like just grab the, like, I was just like, I got this. Because even when it got really, really hard, like, I ended up, my quads were blowing up really badly. So I stopped running at about 47 miles just to stretch my quads, just to try something. And even after I stopped for about 10 seconds just to stretch them, because they were just, felt like I was going through quicksand in place, and felt like someone was just like taking a sledgehammer to them. So I stretched them like really quickly, and like, I don't want to say I had like an oh shit moment, but I had like a go, you need to start running again now, like surge of adrenaline. And then even after I got back on pace, and, you know, saw my watch, that mile was like a 6:30, but it's because I stopped, slowed down, had to get on pace. But even too, like, in my head, I was like, dude, you still got it. You're still way, like, you know, just stay on your feet and you got it. So, you know, you never know you have it until you cross that line, right? But like, I'm doing the mental math. Like, I hit, you know, basically 4 miles to go, and it's like, I was at basically trying to like 4 hours, like 22 minutes or something. And I'm like, or no, like 4, it doesn't matter. 4:20. I'm like, you can run, 4:22. I mean, you can run 7 7-minute miles and still get it by like 15 seconds. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, 7-minute miles, like that's an easy day. That's an easy shakeout, like piece of cake. So it's just like, truly then it's like, you've got it. But at the same time too, I was telling myself, you got it at mile 4 as well versus, 4 miles out. But yeah, I mean, obviously, across the line, I did the fingers down, and obviously I was super, super fatigued and kind of stumbled and stuff, tried to catch myself. My girlfriend grabbed me and I said, told you. So, but
you stopped in the middle of setting a world record to stretch.
Briefly, yeah, very, very briefly.
Just think about that for a second, though. Like that's a.
Also, I'm gonna go. I know I didn't answer your question
No,
at
it's okay.
all, but that was my answer to it.
No. I'm glad you went the long way approach because a 10-second stop to stretch is still stopping.
Yeah.
And stretching in the middle of you trying to set a world record. I think what's powerful is something that you said that I just don't want us to overlook. Is you said, I'm ready to hurt. Now, why would you tell yourself that?
Because you just know it's going to be uncomfortable in the honestly like the most fun way possible. Like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I choose to do this, but you got to be ready to hurt. Like, you got to go to that deep, dark well, and just be ready to suffer and hurt to do something special. Nothing great in really life or sport, like, it's going to come easy. Even before, and this is kind of a salute to Jim Walmsley, who had it before me. Like, everyone's like, no one's going to touch that record. Like, no one's going to, and I was just like, watch me. I can go get it. But it's like, Jim's one of the greatest ultra runners of all time. It's like to go do what Jim does, it's like, you got to go to a special place and do something pretty special and go to a dark place and hurt really bad to get it done. So, yeah, and that's one thing that I love about the sport. It's like, you can really test yourself when it gets uncomfortable and starts hurting. Because that's when that's when you really find out how good you are and how badly you want it too. Is like when you can just sit with that pain and just like enjoy it and work through it, push through it. So.
No, that's really cool. If anyone gets a chance to look up Jim, you should, because that's the guy that you beat. And Jim's world record holder, but he's also like over and over again. He wins UTMB,
Western States,
UTMB final. Like, he's winning wins at least he wins regularly.
Yeah, dude strikes gold most of the time. I mean, he had a rough go with UTMB, but still, it's like the dude ultimately went and got it done. Like, we're talking about like Super Bowls of marathons. That's Boston, UTMB, or Western States are the two biggest, in my opinion, trail races. And he has titles in both, so.
No, he's not a scrub. We're talking about the man.
Yeah.
And so I think that's amazing. How did your mindset, how did your goals, how did your vision, are you done? So after you set a world record, you done?
No.
Okay.
No, man, it gets reframed. It's like, well, I got one, now I want another. Like, that was fun. Again, easier said than done, though, because I missed one this past fall in Lithuania. Just didn't go my way. So, because it's like, their records, they're hard to break, And truthfully, like, it was kind of I won't say it was like a come down, but it was also, too, it was like, yeah, dude, like, you went in a little too confident, a little too relaxed. And I just, truthfully, like, I know it's in my wheelhouse, but it's just like, I wasn't fully prepared for the moment. Like, I definitely was for Tunnel Hill. I think fitness-wise, it was there. But it was just, I wasn't as prepared as I could have been, I don't think, for the one in Lithuania. But now it's like, cool, like, that one's done. Like, let's go get it like down the road again. But now it's refocused to 100K Worlds and go try to get a world title. So,
when you learn something like that, do you write it down?
No, I mean, well, yes, actually. So I'm still a hard copy mileage guy. Like, I keep it, it's all on my app, like, that connects to my watch. But I also, like, every night I'll write down, like, my workout, what I did, the exact splits, pace, if I did core that day, what I did for the strength session, if I did a sauna session, runs, all that. Then also just jot down, like, anything that, like just goals, or like just, if I had a thought during a run about 100K Worlds or something, or, if I'm like, just like put it into existence, like, gold in 5 weeks, like, or something like that. So like, yeah, I'll jot down stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. I think it's important to keep track of your learns at least,
Yeah.
So in Lithuania, how would you nail down your learn into maybe like a statement?
For Lithuania, I think it was in the simplest way, it's like, don't expect it to be like the last one. It's like, because every scenario is gonna be different. Like in Tunnel Hill 2, it was like pretty, like the weather was, it just like, you can't control the weather. Like I don't care who you are, like you just can't control it. And it was like, 38 degrees, like light breeze maybe, but like sunny, but you're also running on a trail that's mostly covered by trees. Like it was like a perfect weather day. Like Lithuania was like, it was a course that I didn't prepare for as well as I should have, truthfully. Like it was a loop. It was an 1,850 meter loop with 7 turns, and they didn't like. So, like seeing that now, it's like I shouldn't have even gone. Just knowing that I just couldn't get in a rhythm. Tunnel Hills, you have 2 turns and 50 miles. Like you can just lock in and go. Here was like you have to shift paces, pivot 7 times basically every mile, just over every mile. So I needed to prepare for that more. And the weather just, again, Tunnel was perfect. Lithuania was about 50 at the start. By an hour in, it was 60. By 2 hours in, it's 65. 3 hours, you're 72, 73. 4 hours, you're getting close to 80, and that's just hard to run in, and humidity. So here I love Boulder, but I'm a shell of myself in humidity now because I live in basically a high desert. So, and I did some just like sauna protocol and stuff, but it's, looking back, it's like it's not going to be the same. So
I still want you to take it down to a statement, if you don't mind, just because I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
To hear you say like, here's the learn, like all those things. Those are a lot of things. By the way, there's a lot of learns.
Yeah.
What would you say is the learn though that you're gonna carry with you?
Yeah. Wasn't it it's not gonna be the same as the last?
Boom. I like that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same as last.
And then what I just said.
You did say that.
Then everything I said in the middle.
It builds.
Yeah.
It builds from that.
It builds what I just said, yeah.
Those are total tags. I love that. It's not going to be the same as, it's not going to be the same as last. Don't expect it to be. Man, I think that's really good. So where are you headed? Where's Charlie Lawrence? Where's Charlie Lawrence headed? World record holder? Great. Someone's probably going to break it. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
I love thinking about that when it comes to world records, just because I think it's helpful. So like, but that's also true for other world records for you.
Oh yeah.
Like it's only a matter of time.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, that was the thing too. It's like I, was hoping to come home from Lithuania with one. Like that'd be sick. That'd be sick to have 2 world records. And
hold them at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that the next one though? Is it the 100K world record in the 100K?
After Worlds, yeah.
Okay.
Well, short term, I'm racing a marathon in 8 days, so I got Indy Monumental full.
And where's that at? Indy?
Indianapolis,
okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, I got that 8 days. I'm not really tapering, so it's trial by fire a little bit. But I'll say this: before Tunnel Hill, I ran McCurdy Micro Marathon. I literally tied my PR to the exact second.
2 hours 16.
Yeah, unintentional. Like didn't try to, but it was also just kind of a workout for Tunnel Hill, which is 4 weeks later. Mm-hmm. Indy's 4 weeks before 100K Worlds. So hopefully we can trying to basically strike up the same thing as I did last fall. So Indy and then 100K Worlds, but that's 2024 season. Then we'll kind of reanalyze. But ultimately, I think Steve Durbin, he's the race director at Tunnel Hill. They're going to probably put down a 100K mat and do a 100K there next year. So the plan would be try to go back to same place, broke the 50 and get the 100K there.
That'd be so cool. Something that I think would be cool for everyone to hear is like, but between the goal and where you are today,
yeah,
there's a lot of races.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of races. There's a lot of opportunities to find success. There's a lot of opportunities to put into practice the body of work. It's not just all training.
No.
And it's like we train to race, not we race to train.
Yeah.
Like we're trained to race.
Yep.
And it's like, I love that you have your world record tattooed on your left hand. I think that's sick. Like, so cool. Good memory, good moment, good thing to actually keep you even focused. What are some other things that Charlie wants to do in life? What are some other things that you want to do in life that's like, man, this is building to a body of work that is a full life.
Yeah.
What's some other things that you'd be like, man, I'm interested in this and this? We were talking about you kind of into fashion, which is pretty sick. I love that. What's some other things that you're involved in?
Yeah, man. I mean, well, so right now, truthfully, everything kind of surrounds running. But I'll say this: my girlfriend. So we, like I said, we just got a place. We're trying to kind of fill that out. She's an artist, so she works full time, but also on the side, she does a lot of paintings on her own. So working on putting that up. Like, so I enjoy honestly like just doing like just that aspect. Like, not necessarily because I can't do it myself, so I appreciate it. I have no talent when it comes to art, singing. So when people can do it like Allison does, like you have nothing but respect, appreciation, admiration for what she does. And I just love that creative side of her. So like I do enjoy like when I'm not locked in the Boulder bubble. Like I do enjoy like getting out with her. Honestly, like the food scene in Boulder, Denver, anywhere we travel, we enjoy it. Like she was in LA prior, so that scene's always fun. I love just like the art cultural scene of really anywhere we're at. Yeah, beyond running, we'll see. I mean, right now I'm pretty fortunate to have like support of a few good brands, and ultimately like they're brands that I, know pretty well, and like just their staff and their CEOs, and like I'd love to ultimately they're helping support me right now, and hopefully like I can help them with my running, but ultimately too, it's like one day be cool to work for them in some capacity if it comes to that. That's at least where my mind is at, just from a financial aspect. But right now it's just kind of building from what I'm doing in running and building my life, with Allison right now, and it's pretty exciting. So,
well, man, dude, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to like build a relationship with you, be friends, and like see what God has for you, see what life has for you, see what is in your future. Just like as family, friends, just all the stuff, man. Like,
yeah,
man, I'm here for it. I can't wait.
I appreciate you, dude.
Dude, this was such a good conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool as you think about maybe like. Three or four things that you keep taking with you. Maybe what are a few things that people wouldn't expect that you carry? Like, yes, you have this, this fun, keeping it sarcastic and like, fiery social media and like, like the world record and like all that stuff. And like you're regimented and routine and running, but what are some staple like statements or quotes or things that, or just maybe even like aspects about you, that you would that people wouldn't know, off the top of the head.
Yeah, I think honestly the first one that comes to me is, and Austin would know this because Austin and I are close, but like for the lack of a better term, like I ride for my dogs. Like if you like, I'm a person. I don't want to say like. I don't trust easily, but like if I get to know or people get to know me, they know like I'll go to bat for you for anything. And Austin's one of those people. Like I'd do anything for Austin at any time. So that's probably the first thing is like once you're kind of, I don't say like this is not an exclusive club or anything like that, but it's just like once you're like really like in my inner circle or a good friend, like die hard for you, do anything, So that's something that I don't think a ton of people know, but like if you've been my teammate, like you know that, like that's one of the funnest aspects of being on a team is like you ride for any of them. So, that's probably the biggest one for sure.
I love that. Something cool that we gotta end with is what's a great question? We'll just kind of wrap it up with this one. What's a great question that people should start asking themselves that you are either currently asking or you have asked or you're trying to keep in your life as a part of how you think? What's a great question for people to begin to wrestle with?
Ooh, man. I think for me, and sorry if this gets long-winded.
No, please.
But I'll try to explain to get to the answer. I think for me, it's like I just love what I'm doing right now. Like I have all the kind of time in the world to do whatever I want, and that's train and try to get better at the sport I do professionally. So I think it's like, for people in like, looking at themselves or a question they can ask, it's like, am I doing exactly what I want with the time I have? And if not, how can I start to do that? Because I think for me, it's, again, even though I'm not doing a ton, I'm training a lot, but it's still super fulfilling for me. So it's like my cup is always full with what I'm doing. So that's probably the question that I'd have people just to kind of
love it,
find that in themselves.
Love it. Love the question. Find something you're passionate about and actually commit your life to it. actually give your life to it and see what it's about.
Yeah, and that's one thing
don't
cool
waste
too.
time.
That's one thing cool too. Like with the sport, I mean, I've met, Austin through running, Allison, my girlfriend, through running. Obviously, met you through Austin. So it's like, yeah, I've met the best people, like, in my life, committing myself to this sport. So,
Man, that's so sick. Charlie, I'm so happy to get to hang out with you and also like record this because we were going to have the conversation no matter what. Because
Yeah.
these types of conversations I think are game changers for us as personal. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If someone wants to connect with you, how do they find you? How do they connect with you? Maybe there's somebody out there who's like, man, I need a coach and I'm trying to go the distance. Are you pulling any like new people to coach or like just maybe share like how people can connect with you?
yeah, easiest way, Instagram, Lawrence_Char right there. DMs are open. Let me know. And then, still taking on clients, coaching. So trying to fill up that roster. So right now I'm at 12-ish. Probably going to cap out at 20, but just so I can make sure I can dedicate enough time I can to my athletes.
Yeah.
Don't want to spread myself too thin and make sure they get what they need. Definitely IG.
Yeah, that's great. So hit him on IG and keep your eyes open for the next race and world record to be broken by my dude Charlie Lawrence. Thank you guys for joining Full Vantage Podcast. 90% of the people that watch this show actually do not subscribe. So subscribe. Hit us up on YouTube. See you guys later. Have a great day. Go run today. Okay, bonus question. Because when we turned off the audio and we turned off the cameras and we kind of concluded what we thought was it, a really important question that I think we should all be asking, and that I'm trying to honestly ask regularly, even of myself, of people that have gone before me to help me get to where I am, is thank you for still staying on. If you're still here, this is like a bonus. Is you talked a lot about Plaz. Okay, your coach for 5 years at the University of
Minnesota.
Okay, that's what I was about to say.
And still someone that helps me with training.
Okay,
so.
and you still talk to him weekly. You were saying.
Yeah, it was his birthday on the 28th. So
there it is. Yeah. You know you're in someone's life if you know when their birthday is. Okay, so he has had a huge impact in your life. If you had like one opportunity to say how much he means to you, or to say what you wish you, like you don't want to regret not saying.
Yeah.
What would you say about him or to him? And by the way, as you're thinking, I just want to encourage everyone that's watching this to begin to do and practice what we're going to practice here. Because if you don't start saying what you want to say based off of the people that helped you get to where you are missing out on the blessing that is you being a blessing to them, because we are a product of those who have gone before us that helped us get to where we are today. So we're going to practice this with our man Charlie, because I just heard you say him so much, and it was kind of on my heart just to like ask you, because I think we're looking for meaningful moments, both that we're breaking records and we're filling people's hearts, of those that were actually like your dogs or the people that you care about, that you were talking about. So what would you say to Plaz?
Yeah. Well, also going back to what I said about riding for my dogs, Plaz is one of those dudes. Yeah. If I had to say something to him, I'm right away. And he's heard me say it, but just love you, dude. Like super grateful, super thankful. Like what I said earlier too, like my cup, my life is so fulfilled because of the path that you set me on for success in the sport as an athlete. So, just wouldn't be doing it without you. I know I don't owe you anything, but I feel like I owe you a lot. So, just nothing but gratitude for that man.
What does he mean to you if you were to try and describe it? So yes, you've got the gratitude, and you couldn't be here without him, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right? But what does he mean to you?
I mean, in like, for lack of a better term, he's like means almost everything to me, in a brotherly dad, father way. I mean, he's a dude where, like my dad was super, super special to me growing up, like kind of gave me that mentality, raised me. But then ultimately it's like Plaz knew me from 18 to now really. He's seen me in a different light than my dad did as, basically raising me. Plaz raised me in a different way, but dude means everything to me. Literally and still like legitimately one of my best friends, because we just get each other on a different wavelength than most people. So
Why is it important for people to have people like Plaz in their life? And how do they find that person?
Oh man, I think for us, it's, we had just been through so many intense, like, races together, moments, and that's where you really see people at, like, either at their most vulnerable, at their, like, when they're really trying to get something out of themselves, and like some dark, not like serious times, but like pretty dark times, like those dark moments where you're really hurting, and you kind of see like what they're really about. And I think, Plaz being a 2-time Olympian himself, he's gone through to that dark place several times. I think he's seen me in races really scrape the bottom of the barrel, reach for everything I could within myself to get the result I wanted to, or to, score the lowest point possible for the team and for him. I think that just ultimately got a ton of respect, that he got a ton of respect for me from seeing that, and racing for the school that I loved, for the program I loved, and really for a coach that I loved. So, there are times too where, I had a bad race in Big Ten's my last year, and like, it was pretty pissed off afterwards, but, like in the airport, Plaza finally knew I'd settled down a little bit when I was like, hey, you want to talk? And like, it was just me and him like crying together in the airport, leaving Big Ten's, because it just didn't, I wanted to win that race, and it just didn't go that way, and didn't score as low as I would have liked to for the team. So that hurts. You see yourselves in those vulnerable times and the sad times and also the good times, and that's just the dude that's been there for literally all of them throughout my really competitive running career. So
As we kind of wrap up this part, how would you encourage somebody to find someone like Plaz?
Yeah. I'm going to answer that now because I didn't with what I did there. I think it's, find the people that you can, like, find the people in your life right now. Let's say you might not know them at that level, but like find something that you two both enjoy, and like, and go do it together, and like just push each other with whatever that is. And you'll definitely kind of, through that and through working together, through maybe sacrificing stuff to go do this activity together. It doesn't have to be running. Something you enjoy, like you'll get to know them. You'll bond at like just a greater, deeper level, and then you'll find ultimately probably just develop that kind of relationship and that bond. So at least that's, how I've traditionally found it. So it might not be necessarily the right framework for some people, but that's kind of how it is. You just kind of really learn people when you're doing stuff together through life and through like a certain extended period of time, I mean, because for the longest time, like I was so terrified of Plaz, like my freshman year, you just didn't want to disappoint him. You didn't want to piss him off, but ultimately, like, it was going to happen, and you're going to butt heads, but ultimately it's just nothing but mutual respect and love for each other. So
I love that. I think, thank you, Plaz, for your investment in Charlie. You're still investing in him. I think that's a great segment of this. Do not go at it alone. Find somebody to go at it with through life, and find this person, find the coach, find the someone that's going to compel you, propel you, challenge you, inspire you, and then be there with you in the sad moments, in the moments of tears, in the moments of celebration. Don't go at it alone. Find someone like Plaz in your life. I think it's a great way to go bonus and end it. You're always going above and beyond, so I appreciate that.
Trying, man, trying.
I appreciate that. Again, Full Vantage Podcast. Again, I hope you guys have a great day. Go run some miles.
Run some miles and like, comment, subscribe.
Let's go. Go run today. We'll catch you later.